Hi, this is Gloria, your life coach, and welcome to. I wouldn't say this is so much more like an episode, but it'd be something for the new year with Ron.
Yes, this is Ronald Johnson, your life coach, and this is not an episode. And I would say this is December 31st, 2020. In a few hours, depending on where you are in the world, it will be January 1st, 2021. And what a roller coaster this year has been with every single thing. But with every single thing going on, we have to look at the positive. However you want to say positive is. And look, what were your intentions this year? And of what intentions you set the previous year, those that want to set intentions always at the first of the year, what were your intentions? In this episode, Gloria and I, sorry, not this episode, in this podcast, Gloria and I want to take this opportunity to thank every single one of our supporters.
Hmm.
I remember when we first started getting a podcast together, we didn't know what we're gonna do, what it's gonna be called. We're going to Fiverr to get someone creative artwork. We're just trying to get started. And obviously, those out there that have created podcasts, and I'm not talking about, the mega people of the world. At this point, I'm talking about the person that's starting in their garage, or starting their home office and doing this on the side. Because in the reality, we don't get paid for this. So while we're setting up these hosting services. We're setting up our um, way to post on Apple Podcasts. This is all kind of our pockets because we had a purpose behind this. There's a reason why we created Life's a Shuffle podcast. There's a reason why we're here. And the reason why we created Life's a Shuffle podcast is because we want to tell everybody in the world, no matter where you are, where you're at in your life, someone is facing the same difficulty or frustration you are facing right now, but they pull through it somehow. It's almost like a storytelling.
Hmm.
You have that old grandpa or uncle, and they come over. You don't see them but once a year, probably during holidays. They take some old stories, and you're sitting around and listening to these old stories I told 30 years ago. That's what storytelling is in Life's a Shuffle. We're telling stories because there's hope out there for every single person. There's hope out there that we all are going to make it. There's hope out there that we're powerful. There's hope out there that we can be anything we want in this world. So, Gloria, why do you think we got started? Outside what I just said, what's your
Um,
opinion?
so, how we started on this is first, we went through a very unique journey in our lives this last couple of years. We went through some self development, discovery. We've discovered our gifts that we have deep down inside. And through that journey, we've all, like exactly what you just said, we've realized that we want to share something in the world. Let them know that they're not alone on this. And also that what we've experienced in life, someone else is experiencing it. Any struggles that anyone is facing that we've also faced in our lives, someone is also going through that. They may have been going through it now or even then and just coping and going through it. How do they get out of that? We were able to overcome that and we wanted to share that to them and also help them overcome it. Or hopefully it'll help them overcome it. And through that, which with this podcast, um, that if we're helping somebody, that somebody will also be helping someone else. And we call this like the domino effect, right? The gift we share will help someone else discover their own gift that they have, and then they'll share that with somebody else.
Oh yes, I apply the philosophy we both learned in IPEC, and I'll never forget it. I don't know if it's mod one or two. At any moment, we all are a teacher and a student. I was listening to a YouTube video today, and it talked about how many people read books a year. The average American person reads 1 to 2 books a year. That's it. And they talk about Bill Gates. He reads, 52 books plus a year. 1 book a day, whatever it is, because they have become lifelong learners. You haven't got any. You haven't got where you are in life without a helping hand from somebody else. So you always remain a teacher and a student. And the beautiful thing about Life Self Podcast, how many people have we learned from something? Remember Emily on our podcast? We learned so much about her and how she inspired different journeys in her life. And she's like 27 years old, I think she said.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have to have the philosophy. I'm a teacher and a student at the same time, because you never know what you can learn, because everybody has a unique journey for themselves.
Mm-hmm. And through this also is not only um, doing this podcast is to also just kind of, you and I just pretty much talk, and we have certain topics what we talk about, and our own stories that we share out there to everybody else and into the world. It also helped us heal by telling our own stories, and not just healing it. We were able to find the truth of who we are within. And
Wow.
uh, for me personally, yes, I'm not sure about you, but I believe that you were able to also somehow. I believe. Am I
So I
right or am
found
I
the truth
wrong?
within. Oh, you're right. The truth within was, man, I would connected with so many different people, and I found my
Mhm.
purpose in life. I think I told you 3 months ago. I talked about this on the podcast. I'm gonna be a millionaire by helping out 1 million people or more. 10 million, 15 million people. I don't care. That's how I'm gonna be a millionaire, because I get more gratitude off of helping somebody else out than I do my own self at this point.
Yeah, and I have truly connected to me, my authentic self, throughout this journey, and just doing this podcast, and meeting and connecting with all this other guests that we've had, and it's it's been really great, and overwhelmed with gratitude to all our supporters and our listeners, and our who continues to support us and listening to this podcast, and hoping that we really are making a differences in your lives. And I know that we've heard from a lot of you that how wonderful this is, and how we have connected with you even just through listening to our podcast. You feel connected with us, and you feel you can relate to our stories and with our guest stories. And that alone is very fulfilling for us, knowing that we really had a purpose for this. Even coming into starting this, not knowing how do we start it, how do we get started, should we talk about the very first time. But with that came, all that came very naturally, because this podcast, we wanted to make it authentic and naturally, right? So when we first started, we just jumped right on it, and it just came naturally to us.
It sure did. And first thing that came to mind right now was, I mean, when we first got started on the podcast, Last Shuffle, we are trying to write a script: who, what, when, where, and how.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no script, and we never written a script since day one. Since we created the very first episode, we have never written a script, because what I saw with a lot of our guests is they get concerned with answering the questions. Okay, they're going to ask question A, then the answer is B, then ask question C, then the answer is D, and whatever it may have been. But that's not the why story. That's not what we got to start. We got to start to share our stories. Why have a script when your life is so much more powerful and wonderful and beautiful outside that? I was listening to another YouTube video 2 days ago by Eric Thomas. And Eric Thomas, he was one of those people. ET also goes by that as well. He was a motivational speaker, and he came from homeless, poverty. His mom had him when he was 17. He went to a lot of different stages in his life. So one day he flew to and talked to Les Brown. Those that know Les Brown, And Les Brown asked him, so what do you want to do? He says, I want to become the best motivational speaker. And he says, well, you want to become, you are the best motivational speaker. Les Brown told him in that story that, look, you can't be me. You can't be Tony Robinson. You can't be Gary Vaynerchuk. You can't be these people, but you can be you. And you have a unique story to tell everybody else and reach them. Not everybody may not know who Tony Robinson is, but Lifestyle Shuffle Podcast, we have a unique journey ourselves, and our guests have a unique journey to share to the world. So we are a piece of that puzzle because it may not be Tony Robinson yet, but we were able to reach those people out there that we can connect with, that they can listen to our stories. Even one of our guests said it's like listening to meditation,
Or
and that was
or
super
yeah,
huge.
I think she said it was more like she feels like she's meditating,
Yeah,
like she's
because she's relating
connecting.
to those stories. Yeah, she's connecting.
Mhm,
She relates to the stories, and
mhm,
that's the whole idea. Is we may not be the big guys in the world right now, but we have a unique story to tell, and we're going to reach those people that want to hear it. Because Tony Robinson, Les Brown, and Gary, all those big people out there, they cannot reach everybody, but we can. And beautiful thing about this, the reason why we all started Lifestyle Podcast was it gave us opportunity to be two minorities. She's Filipino, I'm black, or I'm a human being. I don't know if I'm thinking of a race, but that's a different story. We have two unique journeys to share, and someone comes from a different country. I'm from America, a female versus a male. Why not? So
mhm,
my gratitude every morning is thank you to every single person around the world, around the globe, and in the Antarctica. I don't care where you are.
mhm,
Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for our continued success. And if you ever want to be featured as a guest, don't hesitate to follow us on Facebook group Lifestyle Shuffle. Comment. We'll feature your comment on our podcast and obviously be a special guest. And hint, hint, we may be going live in 2021. I can't say for sure, but stay tuned.
mhm. And, again, this past year, the progress, we don't know what it was going to be like. We don't know if you guys will like our podcast or you guys would like to listen to our podcast, but we did it. We took a chance. And, making an impact to so many people all over was just it was we are very grateful for it. We had no expectations coming into this as well, and this is more than what we've expected, more than what we thought. So again, we'd like to thank everyone who had been listening to our podcast and who had been supporting us this whole year, this 2020, regardless of how 2020 is like and how it's been. Um, we are grateful that we have become a part of your lives, whether it be every day, every other day, or whenever you have a chance to listen to our podcast. We can't thank you enough again for the support that you had given us. You made this happen for us, and we are committed to this, right, Ron?
I'm 110% committed to the process. I'm 110% committed to you out there. I'm 110% committed to making a change. I'm 110% of going to wherever that may go and sharing the stories and showing why I need to show up because I have a unique story to share and I want to share with the rest of the world. And so do my guest. So do
Yes.
our guest, not my guest. I want to share with the rest of the world.
And we want you to know that we truly appreciate you and all of you from the bottom of our hearts. And again, we do have a Facebook group now that you can follow, and we want you to be involved. We want engagement with you guys, with our listeners. We want to hear from you. Any feedbacks, your opinions? Is there anything that you want us to talk about? You have any questions? And if you'd like to be featured in our podcast, that would be great. And just follow us on Life's a Shuffle on Facebook.
And thanks again. Everyone have a happy, a glorious day. Happy and glorious new year. And I hope to see you guys in 2021. Thanks again.
Yes. Mhm. And happy new year, and have a happy and safe new year. And we'll see you, and you'll hear back from us again in just a day, January 1st, 2021. Looking forward to 2021, actually.